Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling a problem every developer knows. That moment when your awesome Flask app starts getting, well, messy. We're going to turn that chaos into clarity, giving you a solid roadmap to build apps that are not just scalable, but super fast too. Okay, so here's the game plan. First, we'll tackle that initial mess and get our static files in order. Then, we'll crank up the speed. After that, we'll scale things up with Flask blueprints. And to wrap it all up, we'll cover some essential pro tips for security and maintenance.
All right, let's dive right in. We're going to start right at the beginning with that feeling every single one of us has had when our first real Flask project starts to, get a little out of hand.
So, does this sound familiar? You've got this one giant app.py file, maybe 1,000 lines long, and your CSS, JavaScript, and images are just everywhere? Yep, that's the feeling. It's that exact moment you realize, uh-oh, my little script is turning into a beast, and the chaos starts creeping in. Okay, first things first, let's get on the same page. What are static files? Well, think of them as the paint, windows, and furniture of your app. They're the CSS for the style, the JavaScript for the cool interactive bits, and all your images. The key thing is, the server doesn't process them. It just hands them straight to the user's browser, as is. So the very first step to getting organized is super simple. You just have to follow Flask's own rules. It's looking for a folder named static, right in your project's main directory. Just create that, and then inside it, make some subfolders like CSS, JS, and images. Boom, you're already miles ahead on the path to a much cleaner project. Now here's a little trick that's going to save you a massive headache down the road. It's tempting to just type out the path to your style sheet, right? But don't. Use Flask's built-in URL-for function instead. Why? Because it generates the URL for you, so if you ever need to move things around or change your setup, you change it in one place, and you don't have to go digging through all your templates to fix broken links. Trust me, it is an absolute lifesaver. Okay, so your files are neat and tidy. That's great. But as you add more features, you might notice your app is starting to feel a bit slow, laggy. Let's tackle that next. We're going to look at some really powerful ways to speed things up.
All right, our first weapon in the fight for speed is caching. It's a really simple idea. Instead of your server having to fetch and send the same style sheet every single time someone visits a page, caching tells the user's browser, hey, hang on to this file for a while, so the next time they visit, bam, it loads instantly right from their own computer.
And how much of a difference does this make? A huge one. I mean, look at this. Getting your browser caching set up right for these static files can slash your page load time by up to 60%. 60! That's an incredible boost to the user experience for something that's not too complicated to set up. Okay, next up. If you have users from all over the world, this next one is a total game changer. A content delivery network, or CDN. The idea is brilliant. You basically put copies of your images and CSS on servers spread across the globe. It's like shrinking the internet. So when someone in Tokyo visits your app, they don't have to wait for the files to travel all the way from your server in, say, New York. They get them from a server right there in Asia. It's so much faster. And the result? You could cut the time it takes to load those assets by up to 50% for users who are far away from your main server. That means your app feels snappy and responsive for everyone, no matter where they are in the world. So what's the bottom line here? When you put these things together, caching and a CDN, the improvement isn't just a little bit. It's a night and day difference. We're not just talking about shaving off a few milliseconds. You are fundamentally changing how fast and responsive your app feels to every single person who uses it. Now, for server-side stuff using an extension like Flask caching, you've got choices for your backend, and picking the right one is key. Sure, file system cache is fine when you're just developing, but for a live app, you'll want an in-memory store like Redis or Memcache. They're just way, way faster. Think of Redis as the powerful do-it-all option for when things get complex. Memcached, on the other hand, is super simple and crazy efficient if your app is mostly just reading data. All right, so your app is fast, your files are organized, but now there's a new problem. Your main app.py file is starting to look like a monster. It's a monolith, just groaning under the weight of all your code. So, how do we fix that? The answer is architectural, and it's called Flask Blueprints. And this quote from a developer on Reddit just nails it, right? I use blueprints so I don't have to deal with 1,000 plus lines of code in a single file. You get to a point where just scrolling through one giant file to find that one function you need to fix is a total nightmare. It's slow, it's frustrating, and forget about trying to have multiple people work on it at once.
This is where blueprints come in as Flask's really elegant solution. Now, they're not totally separate little apps. Think of them more like self-contained modules or components. You can group all the code for a specific feature, like user authentication or your blog, all together. The routes, the templates, even its own static files, all bundled up neatly.
And you can see the benefit immediately. Look at this. On the one hand, you've got the monolith, one giant file where everything's jumbled together. User logins, product pages, API stuff, it's a mess. But with blueprints, you get this clean, logical structure. Got a bug in the login process? Easy. You just go straight to the auth blueprint. It makes everything so much easier to find and manage. And believe it or not, getting started is actually pretty simple. It's basically a three-step dance. 1, you create your blueprint. 2, you add your routes to it just like you normally would. And 3, you hop back to your main application file, import it, and tell Flask to use it, usually giving it a prefix like /auth or /API. Now this is really cool. It turns out it's not just about keeping your code tidy. There's evidence that shows that using blueprints can actually make your app faster. By breaking things down into these smaller, modular pieces, you're reducing the overall complexity. And that can help Python manage resources more efficiently. And that leads to real, measurable improvements in load time. Okay, you've done it. Your app is fast, it's scalable, the architecture is clean. You're almost there. Now we're going to cover those last few things, the little details and habits that really separate a weekend project from a truly professional, production-ready application. Let's finish up with 4 must-do habits. First, cache busting. You know how browsers love to hang on to old files? Just add a version number to your CSS file, like $v = 2. It forces the browser to grab the new one. Second, minify your CSS and JavaScript. This just means stripping out all the extra spaces and comments to make the files smaller and faster to download. Third, and this one is huge for security, so listen up, never, ever serve files uploaded by your users from your main static folder. That's a massive security hole waiting to happen. Put them somewhere else, somewhere secure. And finally, just keep things clean. Every so often, go through and delete old, unused assets. It keeps your project lean and easy to work with. And there you have it. That's the whole journey, right? We started in that chaotic place with a single messy script. But by adding these layers, one by one, first getting organized, then boosting performance, and finally scaling the whole architecture with blueprints, we've built something solid. This is the foundation that lets you create Flask apps that can actually grow and evolve without just falling apart. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. You have the roadmap now, from chaos to clarity. So what's the very first change you're going to make in your app? Are you going to start by just creating that static folder? Or maybe jump right to setting up a CDN? Or are you ready to tackle your first blueprint? Whatever it is, the whole journey just starts with that one first step.